Welcome to the Core Women Podcast, the place for women entrepreneurs, authors, and self-starters looking to build community and gain valuable insights through expert interviews with women at the top of their game. Join your host, podcaster, producer, expert coach, entrepreneur, and author, Dr. Summer Watson, as she aims to inspire and empower you through these candid conversations. Lean in and embrace the journey. It's time to start the show. Here's your host, Dr. Summer Watson.
Today on the show, I would like to welcome Missi Hatfield, who is a retired U.S. Air Force veteran, business owner, combat veteran, author, graduate of Barry University, and co-owner of B2B Digital Services Agency. We have so much to discover and talk about here, Missi, so let's jump right into this and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here, Summer. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It is an honor. We have so much to discuss, but before we talk about and dive into your professional journey, let's explore your personal background. So tell us a bit more about who you are, where you hailed from, the U.S. Air Force, being a veteran, and what got you to where you are today. I know that's a lot, but let's just start moving into this journey.
Absolutely. Well, I grew up in Southern California in San Diego County, the city of Chula Vista, and just a kind of a normal mid-level upbringing. And I knew I wasn't ready to go to college, so I wanted to do something where I could be on my own as an adult, I guess. So I joined the Air Force. In fact, I was only 17 and a half when I joined. My parents had to sign for me to go. And so I turned 18 in basic training. And I went in with a guaranteed job of being a meteorologist, and, it was okay. And throughout my career, I got to do a lot of different things. I was a MTI for a while, which if you're not in the Air Force, to other people, that would be a drill sergeant. Ooh. So I did that. I worked, I was a forecaster. I also worked at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center in Guam, where I was a satellite analyst and determined the strength of typhoons and how they were moving. And then also a duty station forecaster, where I briefed pilots on where they were going and what the weather was going to be en route. We've all heard the pilot up front welcome us onto an airplane and say, and the weather's going to be, well, they got that from a meteorologist, maybe not an Air Force one, but a meteorologist. That's where they got it from. So I retired in 2000. I went to school in Colorado to become a massage therapist. I had a fantastic career, sold the practice after a few years. Then I went and worked for the Fish and Wildlife Service as an administrative officer, until I finally decided I wanted to be a speaker and I was going to fill stadiums. And that didn't happen, but I am a speaker. But in the process of that career, I learned how to build a website. And I loved it. I loved the artistic side of it, as well as the mathematic or scientific side of how that all works. So my business partner and I, we opened up a company called Webshot One, that we build websites, and we build them in one day as our niche. Well, as we've grown and wanted to get more involved in things, we actually now have become a hybrid agency that we work in people's digital workspace. In other words, anything that you're doing online, we handle. We think of people coming into your workspace and arranging your furniture or buying you the right furniture. We make sure you have the right software, and then we manage it for you as well. So that's kind of how we got to where we are now in the entrepreneur journey.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to take us a step back.
Okay.
And I want to touch on that military journey. That was a long journey. I've worked with a lot of veterans, and sometimes veterans have a difficult time transitioning back into the civilian world. How did you do that? How did you take those transitional skills and apply them? Was that seamless for you? Was that a transition that had some bumps in the road? Tell us more about that, because I'd love to hear your experience transitioning from the military back into the civilian world.
Well, the first thing, the Air Force puts you through a 3-day course that is about transitioning and how to write resumes, how what you have, your skills can help you. The second thing that happened was, after I retired and I went to school in Colorado, there was also 2 Air Force bases there. There was the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, as well as Peterson Air Force Base. So that's where I would go to the gym. That's where I would go to the doctor. That's where I would, quite frankly, after class, go and have my lunch. It was at the base. And so while I wasn't working there, I still had my foot in the door. And when I graduated after a year, I pulled out the map and said, where do I want to live? Where is it warm? Where is there water? And where is there a military installation? And that's what got me to Florida. And again, I was within, tossing distance of the commissary and everything at Patrick Air Force Base. But I found that I was doing less and less and less on the base because it was about a 40-minute drive. So, it's a little bit of a drive to go for a gallon of milk. So somewhere along the line, it occurred to me that I could go to a doctor in town and I could go to the local grocery store. And I'm still, as a veteran, have certain benefits that I have. If I ever had to go to the base for something, I could. But I have transitioned out of it, and I think I didn't have a lot of problems. I wasn't even conscious of the fact that I was transitioning out of it. I just knew that I had done my 20 years and 17 days, and that I was ready to move on to the next step. That's something about me. When I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And I would have to say that when my husband was ready, he was ready. He knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love hearing your story, though, and your journey about that transition and how you did stay close to a base and you had kind of like that access to that life before, and never, not that it's ever going to leave you, because you are a veteran. You served this country. You were in the military. And so I loved how you positioned yourself close to a base, and then you got further and further away from it. And yet it helped with that transition, being able to do that. And that's something, and I absolutely love that, because it's not all or nothing, right? It's a transition, and position yourself in a way that you can transition and feel okay about that, and know that you have these transitional skills that you can apply in so many different ways. So it's amazing how you've transitioned, how you've applied your skills in different ways, from being an author, from going back to school, and then also establishing the B2B Digital Services Agency. Let's talk about this B2B consulting agency, because I love what you're doing, how you're helping people, but let's get more in depth into how would you help an entrepreneur establish their website? What does that mean? It's not just a website, there's more to it. And I love the part where you said you appreciated the creative aspect of this. So let's talk about that creative aspect, how you harness that, and then how you help people apply this to their working website, because a website isn't just a static thing. It is a living, breathing thing that changes all the time. So let's talk more about that. I know you have a lot to say.
Well, I kind of liken it to if the person I'm working with is an artist, but they have no arms. Now I have to try and get what they're imagining and get it onto the canvas being the internet space that we're going to occupy with their website. So the very first thing I do is I talk to them and listen. What is their goal? What is their perfect client? What is it that they're trying to do? And sometimes they don't have it clear enough. And so we'll ask a lot of questions, and we'll ask them to describe in as much detail as possible. And you have to niche down. You can't do everything. When I first was going to build websites, I'll build websites for anybody and everybody. I found out that probably wasn't the best way to go. So I started by saying brand new entrepreneurs. And then as I growing into the entrepreneurs that had survived that first 5 years and had survived COVID, that their business was growing and they didn't have time to do the website anymore. So that's kind of where I grew into, not so much an industry as where they are in their career. So we just listen and we talk to them, and we ask them to find websites they like and websites they don't like, and tell us why. And so we're trying to get this picture formed, and we talk about colors, and do they already have a logo, and we just gather information, as much information as we can get. And then we moved into this niche where we build the website in one day. So about 3 weeks prior, we're starting to gather all this information and get it together. The day that we build the website is either 1 day or 2.5 days. And we ask them, be available. And so as we start building, we'll start checking in with them. Go and look at this. Is this right? And then we start making adjustments, because my whole goal is to capture their vision and have them make money. That's the bottom line. I have to get what they're trying to do and help them to be successful in their business. We make suggestions, but we really want their vision.
And I really appreciate that. So there's so many things that you have mentioned here. You've mentioned the creative aspect. You've mentioned the target market. You've mentioned strategy. You've also mentioned coaching these people and strategically coaching these people so that they understand what their passion, purpose, what I call PPI, their passion, purpose, and impact is, right?
Hmm.
And getting really focused and granular
Hmm.
about who they're serving. And a
Right.
lot of times entrepreneurs don't know. Like
Right.
they don't know exactly. They really haven't sat down and thought about like, let's get really specific. I think when we begin, we want to serve so many
Hmm.
and we think, oh, if we just put it out there and tell everybody that we're serving everybody, we're going to
Hmm.
get more business. But that's not the case. The
Hmm.
case is really getting targeted and very granular about who that demographic is because you're speaking to certain individuals. The more you
Hmm.
speak to them, the more that's going to open up those floodgates of clients for you. And I think people forget that and they want to think, let's open it up to everybody. But that's not really serving you well. I love that you mentioned that. And also being able to work directly for a couple of days with these people and really getting clear about not that just their vision, mission, and values, but also more along the lines of their creativity, their colors. What do those represent? What are those saying about you? Now, do you have a graphic designer also that you work with, or
No, no, we do it.
you
We
do it?
do it. We
Wow.
take care of it. And if it's something that we can't do, we have people that we will refer to that
Yeah.
will work hand in hand with. There are so many tools out there that you can do so much with that you don't have to go outside of this. But if we do, we're not afraid to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll bring somebody in.
And websites can be really complex. So we're talking about funnels. We're talking about a lot of different areas that you want to build out that behind the scenes type of thing with your website. It's not just the front facing website. There's so much behind the scenes. So you've got newsletters, you've got funnels, you've got all these things, and you do all that.
Yes, that's what we grew into.
Right.
Instead of being just developing websites, we started working with a coach who said, what sets you apart from the hundreds of thousands of other developers? And so this was us really drilling down to what we wanted to do and what our mission was going to be and what our ideal clients were. We got right down to it and realized that we wanted to work on websites and then get them to where people saw them. You can throw a website up and nobody will ever find you unless you have a way to get it out there. So that takes us from what started as Webshot One and grew into B2B Digital Services Agency, where we take care of all of the services, finding and capturing leads for you, setting up email sequences that nurture those leads for you. We set up workflows and pipelines so that when you offer a class, it goes through the whole process, how they sign up, how you capture their information so you can contact them again later. We even do reputation management, where we will go out to all of your clients that you've had before and give them an opportunity to directly give you a review right onto your Google My Business. And so, because sometimes people just forget about it. Whereas if we send them an email and say, how would you rate them? Oh, I'd rate them a 5. And then as soon as they hit that star, takes them straight over to your Google My Business where they just fill it out and they're done. So we help with that. Along with obviously social media posting, we write copy, and we really, this is important. Anybody hires anybody to do this, any digital work for them, you need analytics, you need reports, because that's the only way that you're going to make an intelligent decision if something's working. If we've got some kind of campaign going for you and we don't gather analytics for it and we don't give you a report, how are you going to know if it's working? How are you
Right.
going to know if this is money well spent for you? And then just one little twist that makes us, again, a little bit different is that we're a subscription that you sign up and you can stop anytime you want. It's month to month, and you can change what we're doing every month for you. Once we get you in our system, then we can, okay, well, for a month, we'll do reputation management. And then for 2 months, we're going to nurture all the ones you have. We can build on all of that while still finding you new ones and capturing them and nurturing them.
That is so cool. I love how you set this up. Let me ask you, Missy. So you say you're a subscription. So when you start out with somebody, you do that first meetup and you start talking and gathering information. Is there a one-time charge to start, or is it all based on subscription?
It's all subscription. The only thing we ask for is a 4-month commitment. There are a lot of people who do things similar to us, and they'll charge you between $1,000 and $3,000 just to set you up.
Right.
We don't do that. We ask for, this relatively short commitment.
Right.
And that also is giving us time to really earn your business and loyalty that you may want to leave, but our hope is you don't, that we give you such great service and you see such return on investment that, you want to stay. The other part that happens is the website. The website is at the end of a year, you own it completely, whether you can just leave us and we will help you move the website to wherever you want to host it at. If you leave before that, you can buy out the rest of the website if you want. Because so many people, it's hard to, just hand somebody $10,000 for a website,
Right. Yeah.
and all at one lump sum. But this way it kind of spreads it out for you. And this includes us hosting it and maintaining it.
Right.
So,
wow.
And the software that we use replaces 15 other softwares that people cobble together. ClickFunnels, MailChimp, Constant Contact, all of these things that you're trying to get to work together through Zapier. We have all of them in our software. It's called Agency Suite. It's our software. It does all of them. The only thing it doesn't do is Zoom yet. I think we're going to see that one added in there soon too.
Wow.
And it's so much fun to work with and just get these results.
What I love too, and maybe you can give more insight to the listeners, is that you found something that you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
You really did. And how did you know? How did you know that, oh my gosh, this is it?
Yeah.
This is what we're totally passionate about.
I had a coach one time that drew it on a piece of paper for me, that you start here and you're trying to get here, and it's higher and it's in the future. And there's this straight line. The line is never straight. It always what you think you're going to do, what happens. So like I said, I decided I wanted to be a speaker, filling stadiums. Tony Robbins was going to open for me. Well, what happened was I had to build a website because I didn't have the money to pay somebody to do it. I learned how to do it. At the same time, my business partner, she's opening up an online pet store. So she has to build a website. And at some point we both went, this is fun. And so we started with the websites, and then we just kept building. And we somewhere along the line figured out a way. I think somebody said it to me, if it ain't fun, we ain't doing it. And so that's just kind of where we are. We want to do what we enjoy. We want to work with clients we enjoy and who enjoy what we're doing for them. And we'll go to the moon for them.
Oh, I absolutely love talking with you. This is so refreshing because you said so many things that many coaches say about passion and goals and vision and all these great things. But then you've incorporated passion and your creativity. And there's a lot of technical aspects to this too, that a lot of us don't understand. We understand that we need this stuff, but to put that all together and to use it and to apply it, a lot of us don't want to do this. Like, I know I don't. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's something I don't enjoy, but you do. And you found something that you absolutely embrace, enjoy, and you've learned and you continue to learn. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. I want to tell folks that you can, especially if you're starting out, you can go and build your own website for relatively inexpensive, or maybe somebody will promise you one for, $100. And that's fine, especially when you're starting out. Do those things and spend your money and your energy where it helps you the most. And understand that this entrepreneurial journey is a journey. And you have to try things, you have to find things, and every step you take is a step forward. So there's no wrong way to do it. If you get to that point where you're ready to just blow it out of the water, then, you find something else that's going to help you do it. And I get this excited about everybody's website I build. I really do. I want it to be the best one ever.
Well, I absolutely love this. So we've covered so much ground here, and I want to ask you one last question. If you could leave the listeners with a tip to support their entrepreneurial journey, what would it be?
Ask for help. Get involved with some kind of support, whether it be a networking situation or a coach or a mastermind group. something that you can bounce ideas off of, bounce frustrations off of. And every night when you close your eyes, reassure yourself that you did your very, very best today, and it's going to be even more fun tomorrow.
Oh, love that. Thank you, Missi, for joining me on the Core Women podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. If you would like to know more about Missi Hatfield, you can follow her on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and at the2bconsultants.com. Again, that's the2bconsultants.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Core Women podcast with Dr. Summer Watson. We're so glad you're here and would love to connect more with you. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Core Women, and on Twitter at Core Women 1. For more about Core Women and Dr. Watson, visit corewomen.com. Want more support and resources for amazing women like you? Great! Join Dr. Watson and Jen Fontanilla at the Life, Love, and Money Collective, a Core Women production that aids in understanding the key traits that might be getting in the way of living a life that you are absolutely passionate about. Connect with Summer and Jen and find out more at thelifeloveandmoney.com.